Joey Logano. Sunoco fueling Victories has fueled the winner of the Daytona 500. And all 43 drivers in this Sprint Cup Series field. It is the second Daytona 500 win for car owner Roger Penske, to go along with his 15 Indianapolis 500 trophies.
You know, he's worried about his teammate.
Jimmy Johnson starts burning down the house. Sunoco fuels another victory. Johnson's fourth Atlanta win in his 24th start here. This becomes the 9th different speedway where Johnson has won at least 4 times. We'll be back with more from Atlanta. Kevin Harvick lights it up in Las Vegas. Sunoco fueling Victories.
I'm not sure anybody does a better burnout than Kevin Harvick.
He sure gets a lot of practice.
I think he was one of the first ones that really do the big time burnouts.
It's his 29th career win. Time in his year, he's gone back to back and has now won 3 of the last 6.
That makes me dizzy. He spins around so fast.
Sunoco fueling Victories for Kevin Harvick.
Hell yeah, buddy. Burn them down.
Last time a driver started the season with 4 straight top 2 finishes. Richard Petty in 1974. Harvick International Speedway's all-time winner right there. 17th career win for Brad Keselowski. Powered by Sunoco, fueling Victories.
I want to applaud NASCAR for letting them race back.
Amen.
And
Amen.
That took a big effort on the part of Greg Biffle to get that car out of there after he had spun to a stop in the front straightaway.
Martin, if you're watching, you have to send these boys another text message. These burnouts, they still doing them.
Brad Keselowski led 1 lap today. The last one.
And it wasn't that complete lap.
That's what Harvick did here in 2011. He led from turn 3 to the start-finish line, a lot like what Brad did today. Very nice, very nice.
For those Joe Gibbs Toyota drivers. 1st, 4th, and 5th.
And what a day. Oh, look at this. All right. Woohoo. He was drifting. He was coming around that corner drifting.
Hamlin's 5 wins here are his most at any track, and he becomes the 5th different winner of 2015.
Capture the flag, buddy. Capture the flag.
Down the tractor. I don't know what he's doing.
The only Toyota driver ever to win at Martinsville Speedway, Hamlin with 5 grandfather clocks.
He's trying to do a full half-mile burnout. I believe he's going to make it. The tires will make it.
No, the tires will never make that. They're not going to take that.
Never say never.
Watch this. I like this drifting act down here. It's what you call burning them down.
Well, now Victory Lane's over here on the front side.
Well, there's left rear. Left rear's gone.
Martin Truex extend their run of top 10s all this season.
Great job, big crew. Ron, Malik, all you guys. Good job preparing that car. Everybody back home, actually. We had a really good race car off the truck. Thank you.
Sunoco fueling Victories, and when he's done with the burnouts, Jimmy Johnson will drive that Lowe's Chevrolet into Sunoco Victory Lane.
Like you said, it was his time to win a 1.5-mile track. Harvick won the last one.
Tell you, the way he ran at Atlanta and these tracks, Atlanta and this track are pretty similar. I'm not surprised. I feel like he'd have a really strong car from the middle of this race to the end.
And a nod to Carl Edwards, who scores his first top 10 finish at Bristol victory. First time he's won the spring race. And for Matt, that's his most wins at any Sprint Cup track. SUNOCO fueling victories. This one's for Steve Burns. Kenseth becomes the 6th different winner of 2015. And it's the 3rd time he's won from the pole. 2 of those 3 have come here at Bristol. Kenseth defeats Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Ricky Stenhouse, and Ryan Newman. Complete post-race coverage on Fox Sports Live. Ryan Field and Don Bell.
Got to shed a few tears, I bet you, after what he's been through.
SUNOCO fueling victories. As Kurt Busch becomes the 7th driver to win. In 2015, it'll be his 2nd trip to victory lane at Richmond International Raceway and his 9th short track victory. Junior coming to the line to get the checkered flag. SUNOCO fueling victories. Darrell, when you spoke to him at length yesterday, I heard in the interview him say, "I'm happy with who I am." You know, for a long time, thought he had a lot to live up to. And look at him doing an Alan Kulwicki self-styled Polish victory lap with the window net down, the helmet off, waving to the fans after a great win today.
Yeah, this is exactly what he was talking about yesterday, Mike. I'm content. I'm content with who I am.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. captures the flag and sets off for victory lane. Big, well-deserved grin.
And you wait till he gets to victory circle. You want to see a celebration. He loves going to victory circle and celebrating with his team. He'll hug every one of them, I guarantee you.
And he becomes the 8th driver to punch that ticket to be in the chase.
The window, because he hadn't qualified worth a flip for the last several weeks, but they found a way to get to the front.
It's Johnson's 3rd win at Kansas Speedway, tying Jeff Gordon for the most. SUNOCO fueling victories. Jimmy Johnson burns down the house in Kansas. We'll have complete post-race coverage on Fox Sports Live. Let's join Jay Onright and Cole Wright in L.A. Denny Hamlin's going to light him up in Charlotte. SUNOCO fueling victories.
Denny Hamlin, when you get clear of the smoke there, this is DW. You got a copy, buddy?
Can't hear you through all that smoke.
A little smoky in there, I'd say. Denny Hamlin, is it cleared up enough in there you can hear us, buddy? He's busy right now.
He is very busy.
Yeah. He ain't got time. Can't talk on the radio. I got to smoke these tires.
Burning down the house.
You know, he did almost a full half-mile burnout at Martinsville. Maybe he's going to try to do a burnout all the way down the front stretch.
I think that's his plan from when he turned around down there, you know, in the turns 1 and 2 and came down here.
Wonder if Bryson Burns will let him touch that $1 million now. Season, 2nd in the 600. Here we go.
Whoa, he can still do it.
His touch.
He can still do it. What a win for that team.
Sunoco fueling victory.
Joe and JD.
And Carl Edwards to victory lane. Now he's going to come capture the flag. And he's headed for the stands.
You know what? He used to do that. He used to go up in the stands and hang out with the fans. He's going to do it tonight. How about that? Atta boy. Someone will have to drive the car to victory lane because I think you said they're going to capture the flag. They're going to capture Carl.
You know what? This sport is all about the fans. And Carl Edwards is one of those drivers who just consistently shows that. Does a lot of fan appearances and events. He once, and I'm reminded of our colleague Steve Burns, late colleague Steve, who had one of the cards that Carl used to carry when he raced at the short tracks in Missouri. And it said, Carl Edwards, with an address and a phone number and his picture. If you're looking for a driver, you're looking for me.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know what, Mike Darrell? Joe Gibbs Racing had another victory tonight, too. Kyle Busch, all 600 miles of this race.
Yes, sir. Nothing to hang his head about. He finished 11th, but what a great night. Ran up front all night long. A number of guys, Larry. I mean, you think about the Biffle. Dale Jr. finished 3rd. There's Kenseth's fought back for a 4th. Truex got back to 5th.
And you saw on the windshield strip, Carl Edwards memorializing Navy seaman Lynn Thrasher on his number 19. Carry that name with him to victory lane. Joe Gibbs Racing finishes 1st, 4th with Kenseth, 8th with Denny Hamlin, and 11th with Kyle Busch.
Yep.
Big night.
I tell you, they came over here last week. We saw that with Hamlin winning that All-Star race, and we knew these guys had something special for this weekend. And boy, have they displayed that.
You can find the names, pictures, and bios of all the servicemen and women memorialized tonight at foxsports.com. Click on the link on the front. What is the essence of winning? Maybe a little bit of burning rubber there. Sunoco fueling victories. Jimmy Johnson has now won 3 of the last 4 at Dover in capturing his 4th victory of 2015. Thanks, fellas. Jimmy Johnson burning down the house.
Let's get down on that asphalt there to make that smoke, because it doesn't make the good smoke up there on the concrete.
4th win of the season, leads all drivers. That's his 11th year with at least 4 victories, and he is within 2 races of tying Dale Earnhardt for 7th on the all-time list.
Well, he drove his guts out, but I've got to tip my hat to Chad Knaus, because you know what? He rolled the dice and kept him out there.
He did that same thing in Kansas, and I said, ain't no way.
Matt?
Trying to put a smile on it.
Well, you wonder, is burnt rubber the essence of racing? Sunoco fueling another victory. This time for Martin Truex Jr.
It's a brand new car. I mean, these guys have done everything right.
And they finally close the deal. Well done.
Motivations to get back was seeing other drivers in victory lane holding trophies.
There's the essence of racing. Sunoco fueling victories. Michael McDowell did get back out on track and finish the race, as did Greg Biffle. Thanks, fellas. Kyle Busch started 11th today. His 2nd win at Sonoma in his 11th start here. He won in 2008. And his 4 road course victories now rank 3rd most among active drivers.
I guess it was pretty wishful thinking to think that 48 was going to be able to hold these guys off. But I was thinking if he could hold up some of these guys a little bit, they might be able to do it. But he ends up 6th. Still a great day for Jimmy Johnson. Do it, dude. Just do it.
the tires.
On a Saturday in February, Kyle Busch was head-on into an unprotected concrete wall at over 100 miles an hour. Spent a month in the hospital, a couple of months in rehab.
What he went through.
Third in the Xfinity race last night. And didn't seem as disappointed as we've seen Kyle Busch in interviews past, where when he doesn't win, he's so frustrated. And now, this interview will be that much better because he'll be in victory lane. The winning crew chief is with Martin.
Adam Stevens gets Kyle Busch to pick it out for his traditional bow. He wins here at Kentucky.
He likes to grab the checkered flag as most of the drivers. In driver introductions earlier this evening, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was introduced just before Kyle Busch. The crowd roared for Dale Earnhardt Jr. The introduction of Kyle Busch, when he came out, there were boos through the crowd. But how many times have the greats been booed because they win so much? And what happens again? As he bows to the crowd, Kyle Busch wins again.
I've heard from a lot of great drivers. They don't care if they're cheering. They don't care if they're booing. They just want to making noise, because if they're making noise, that means you're making noise on the racetrack, turning people's heads, showing them how great you can be.
Now it's a situation of getting into the top 30 in points, and he continues to eat away at that point difference between he and 30th. What a great run again for the 18 team. Kelly Steps.
Rick, so many different strategies at play. Adam Stevens called the winning one, but how about the work of Kyle Busch to unlap himself in short order?
Yeah, very disciplined, not the speed, and we had a good stop. And, you know, fresh tires with that many laps was a big deal, and he proved it and got back out there and unlapped himself. And lo and behold, the caution came, and it was over from there.
3 wins in the last 4 races for the 18 team, Rick.
Yeah, they have been incredible. And how about Joe Gibbs Racing at New Hampshire? Won the race, the Xfinity race yesterday, and they win today in the Sprint Cup Series. Denny Hamlin yesterday, Kyle Busch today.
That's on the front stretch.
Joe Gibbs Racing again. It wasn't Kyle Busch. This time, it's Matt Kenseth. Kelly.
And Jason Radcliffe sits atop the box here for Matt Kenseth. What were you thinking as you see everyone else around you run out of
Fuel, so put ourselves in the right spot. Executed.
It was a sweep of the weekend here at the Glen for Todd Gordon and Joey Logano.
And enough fuel for a very impressive burnout here on the front stretch. The team up on the wall, Logano saluting them.
Of course it was, but somebody was going to do a better job than the rest of the field, and it was Matt Kenseth and his team.
I do have to say, though, we saw some great racing between Matt Kenseth and Austin Dillon for the lead. I mean, there were a couple of passes between the two that we saw Austin Dillon be able to make the pass and get in front. Then the stronger card prevailed, with Matt Kenseth being able to get out front and stay out front. But again, Joe Gibbs Racing continuing to dominate in the Sprint Cup Series. Kelly.
I've got the coach, Joe Gibbs, and it seems like Matt Kenseth and this 20 team has picked up where Kyle Busch left off. Now 2 wins in the last 3 races for this team. What does it say about your organization that you continue to win no matter what NASCAR throws at you, no matter what?
Given everything they had, there's nothing left, I can guarantee you that. I like the fact they both stuck to what was best for them. You know, sometimes you get lured into trying to do something that your car won't do. Both those guys knew what their cars could do. They got the most they could with the cars they had.
Incredible win for Joey Logano and that entire team. Let's hear from the crew chief, Dave.
And they won this race last year. Todd Gordon, how do you explain defending a win at Bristol?
Pretty awesome. It's
Window.
right at the start-finish line. The history of this place, thick. His crew knows they'll give him room.
I wonder what Coach Gibbs thinks when his driver doing a backflip over the asphalt. I get a little nervous every time I see it.
When he used to drive for Jack Roush, Jack got a little nervous because he slipped.
What's he put on tonight? Recovering from 2 laps down, the entire race team, a great pit stop there at the finish to give him the track position he needed. It was just a great example. The Southern 500 is a great example of how much of a team sport NASCAR is, from the car to the driver to the equipment to the pit stops.
It's a good example. You just can never quit. You just got to keep fighting. Had strategy early in the race, it didn't work out for him. He got a bunch of laps, he got 2 laps down. Just kept fighting, kept going, kept digging. Southern 500 win.
And Carl Edwards, one of the biggest proponents for the race package that was in the cars, both at Kentucky and here at Darlington. Less downforce, a softer tire where the tires would wear, putting more of the racing back in. Clint Boyer tonight, unofficially coming home top 10. He was all Matt Kenseth tonight. His closest competition was most of the time his teammates. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards, all running up front. And in the end, 352 laps led by Matt Kenseth out of the 400 run. A dominating performance as he celebrates with the crowd here at Richmond. Let's hear from the winning crew chief. He's with Dave.
Jason Ratcliffe was laying a little low early.
What a great day, you know. We had a terrible Friday. I really messed some things up in qualifying trim on Friday, and everyone bounced back. Denny did a heck of a job. This FedEx Toyota can't race fast, and the team held in there and fought all day, and we got our first victory in the chase.
Lowest chase starter at Chicago, Rick, is the highest chase finisher. How about that day? 29th to first for Denny Hamlin.
Denny Hamlin had to start 29th because in practice on Friday, they weren't quick. They were the 29th fastest of the cars that were on the track in practice. Then qualifying got rained out. So that's where they had to start. 29th, but they worked on it. Came back on Saturday, found speed, and now showed speed and strength in the first race of the playoffs. It's the first time that Denny Hamlin has been able to go to victory lane at Chicagoland Speedway. And his celebration is going to continue. A lot of people question, with a torn ACL in the right knee, can Denny Hamlin be mentally strong enough and physically strong enough to succeed and be able to advance through the rounds and potentially run for a championship? I think this right here has said yes, he can.
And the manner in which he did it, it came down to a final restart on old tires, restarting third, got in front of the front row and took it all the way to the checkered flag. I thought they had to have tires to win the race.
For Kevin Harvick, but worked out perfectly for Matt Kenseth. Momentum and Joe Gibbs Racing. Joe Gibbs Racing has won 4 consecutive races. It wasn't with 4 different drivers. 13 wins in 2015. What an impressive list to join.
With 8 races to go.
A lot of time and a lot of momentum behind them.
I don't think this entire field did not want to see the 4 car just burn out when this race is over. That guy right there winning this race. They didn't want to see that. The only way he was going to advance was to win this race. He got it done. That has to be the favorite to win this championship.
As we watch Kevin Harvick celebrate a win here at the Monster Mile, SUNOCO fueling victories. You can barely see the 4-car. Rodney Childers told him to burn it down. He's with Kelly.
And Rick, I can tell you, Rodney looked remarkably calm there.
I don't think this entire field did not want to see the 4-car just burn out in this race. That guy right there winning this race. They didn't want to see that. The only way he was going to advance was to win this race. He got it done. That has to be the favorite to win this championship.
As we watch Kevin Harvick celebrate a win here at the Monster Mile, SUNOCO fueling victories. Childers told him to burn it down. He's with Kelly.
And Rick, I can tell you, Rodney looked remarkably calm there.
Talladega did it again this year. Pretty awesome driver we got here. Big win for the 22 team. They don't have to worry about Talladega anymore.
I've seen some burnouts before, but that was awesome. That wasn't just donuts. That was aerobatics almost there. For Joey Logano as he went across the painted Charlotte Motor Speedway. He'll get the checkered flag and continue his burnout. Burnout a week ago in Charlotte, and he duplicates it today.
You know, there'll be people that say, why didn't NASCAR let them race back? NASCAR couldn't let them race back. As soon as the determination is made of why they're going to have to throw a caution, that's when the caution needs to be thrown. That's when you have to throw the caution. So I know people are going to say they should have let it go. Should have let it go till Alpha Turn 4, then slow everybody down. It can't work like that. NASCAR's got to be consistent in saying if there's cars that make heavy impact, there's cars on a racetrack, we're going to have to throw the caution.
Mike Kelton said it in the pre-race show. It's the responsibility of the entire field to have good restarts, not just the front row. You saw there, back to the field was the trouble. Had nothing to do with the front row. They're just racing as hard as they can. NASCAR, as you said, Jeff, had no choice. Cars are on fire. They had to get safety workers to it.
Based on safety, they had to throw the yellow flag to get the safety crews out to these drivers who are now sitting just past the...
Burn that baby down! Burn that baby down!
And I believe this crowd got what they wanted tonight. A lock for the Hall of Fame, Jeff Gordon, in his final season in the Sprint Cup Series, gets win number 93 on his career, and more importantly, he moves into a position where he could get his 5th championship. SUNOCO continues to fuel victories. And Jeff Gordon might be celebrating as much as we've ever seen. Racetrack that has been so good for Rick Hendrick. The winningest team ever at Martinsville. And it's been fueled by that man, Jeff Gordon. 9 wins at this racetrack. Jimmy Johnson smiles and hugs. There's been 9.
Talk about momentum. It has to be a big shot against the 2-car.
So familiar with this side in Texas. Jimmy Johnson, for the 6th time, will make his way to victory.